If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Amazon, and so many more places. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. And best of all, it's totally free. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Welcome to another episode of Real Talk with RJ. So today we're going to be talking about communication. Not just communication, but effective communication in a healthy relationship. So rather than just have a biased male's opinion, I decided to have somebody here who's an expert in women's opinion as well, because she happens to be a woman. So, I just wanted to have a nice little exchange between my special guest, whose name is Diana.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you so much. I know you're very busy, and I thank you for taking the time to be with me tonight on this show. So let's just talk about effective communication. What do you get from the words effective communication?
Well, I'm not a pro at it, but I'm still learning to learn to communicate, especially being in a healthy relationship. Coming from a very toxic relationship, for the past few years, and then just going straight to a very healthy relationship, it's communication is still a little difficult for me, but I'm learning, and thankfully, my partner is very helpful as well, so I guess I'm learning how to communicate a lot better than what I did before when we first started.
That's good, because a lot of people are used to shutting down, understandably, especially when you're talking about being in a toxic relationship. It's easy to start becoming, like, so to speak, an army of one, where you deal with everything yourself, because in toxic relationships, you don't have somebody you can run to. You don't have somebody with whom you can share your feelings.
Right.
Like, I know from my personal experience that in some of the relationships I've had in the past, I couldn't be vulnerable with them. Men all put up this tough,
right,
persona of who we are. We're tough nails. Yeah, let's go. we all do that. But ultimately, every man out there wants to be able to feel safe, to be vulnerable with their partner. So I've felt emasculated when I've cried in the past, when I was having a hard time. Like, I felt emasculated in those past relationships.
Well, that's why a lot of men don't want to open up and don't want to show their vulnerability,
Yeah, especially because a lot of men are, in society today, men don't cry. If you cry, you're a wimp. Like, that's what society often shows men.
Right.
And often we, a lot of the fathers, or a lot of kids out there are growing up without a father, so they don't see a man cry. So it's kind of a taboo. But, me being in a healthy relationship, I'm really grateful that if I do cry because I'm feeling some type of way about something that just doesn't seem fair, whatever the case may be, I never feel emasculated by my partner, because she's always been supportive. She's always been there. She knows every detail about my past and just knows my heart.
That's good.
And I'm just so grateful for her.
I'm very happy for you.
Thank you. So, it's a really special thing to be able to have effective communication. In my opinion, effective communication is more just saying, "Hey, I'm going to the store to go get some groceries." Effective communication is more saying, "I'm going to be going to the store. Is there anything that you need me to get while I'm there?"
You're not just checking in because you have to. You're just informing her, like, "Hey, I'm going to the store. Like you said, is there anything you need, or just in case something happens, where I'm at."
Exactly. They bring up a really good point too about asking for permission, because like there's a lot of relationships out there where people are like, that you ask your buddies, "Hey, I'm going to be having a party over here this weekend. We're going to go out to Vegas. You want to come with me?" And then the guys be like, "Oh man, I got to go ask the wife." But the way they present it is that they have to go ask permission from the wife. In my opinion, I don't want my wife to ask me for permission for anything, because I'm not her boss. I'm not her dictator. I am her partner. So I want her not to ask me permission, but ask me my feelings on the matter.
You want your opinion. You want her to, ask for your opinion. Like, what do you think? What do you, is it okay if are you okay with me going with my friend, or what you know what I mean?
Yeah, or even like what's your opinion, or how do you feel about me
Right.
wanting to do this? And then of course the partner would be say something along the, well, essentially we would hope that the partner would answer saying, yeah, absolutely, go have fun. Or are you guys, she might ask questions like, are you guys going to be going to strip bars, or what are you guys
Right.
planning on doing there? And now that will be
That
for,
makes a lot of sense.
now you're saying, yeah, well, they want to go out to a couple of clubs and stuff like that. And then she'd probably say something like, well, babe, you and I are married, or we're in a relationship. Why would you want to go clubbing with other
Yeah.
women out there?
That's true. You got to show that respect to your partner.
Exactly.
If your partner's showing you the respect, then you should also show it as, it should go both ways, basically.
You're absolutely right. And I think that's where it comes from too. Like, a lot of people misunderstand that big concept, thinking that you lose your freedom once you're in a relationship, but you don't.
But
you
you
still
don't,
have your
yeah.
freedom.
Yeah. One thing, from my past, my ex, my ex-mother-in-law, may she rest in peace, did always tell me, when you get married, you don't ask for permission. You tell them, like, hey, I'm going here, or hey, I'm gonna hang out with my friends. What do you think? Are you okay with it? Do you, I need your opinion. But she goes, you should never ask a man, can I go?
Exactly. Because that's another thing too. That's such an important point to drive home, is that man does not own his women, and women doesn't own the man. This is
Exactly.
something that we
Yeah.
see in society a lot. The woman runs the household. She calls the points. Like, dude, that's not a healthy relationship.
Right.
The man is a prisoner in his relationship, and the man is a dictator in his home. The woman's a prisoner. They're supposed to be teammates. They're supposed to talk about, hey, I would like to go out and do this, or my buddies invited me to go do this. I would like to go do it. How do you feel about that? Now, there are women out there that say, do what you think is right, or you know what, if that's what you want to do, go for it. And then the man has hell to reap, once you get back home. That's not okay. That's bad communication, because
It's
she's
not.
not.
It's not that it's bad communication, because I kind of have a little tendency, I kind of tend to do that too, not, I guess, to make them feel bad, but and I know that's a bad habit of us women, but we need to learn to trust and be like, I think some of us just do it because not that we don't want them to go out there and be out with their friends. It's just more like, I just want you to hang out with me, just be here with me. But we can't always keep our men, with us all the time, 24/7, so sometimes we kind of let them break free a little bit,
Yeah. Well, like, men are often trying to say this to their women, like, if you feel a certain way, tell me, just say it.
Yeah.
Because we're not mind readers at the end of the day. We don't know what you're thinking. And honestly, there are so many books about what women think, because women don't even know what they think or what they want.
Exactly, I agree. But even with men too, if you say, hey, I'm gonna go with my buddies, and you're like, okay, I tell you, okay, go ahead, have fun. Then you'll be like, wait, why are you saying go out and have fun? What's wrong? Who you
Yeah.
bringing in?
I see what you're saying, but because all of a sudden it's a very different answer. If like normally you would get a hard time getting out the door, then all of a sudden she's like, no, go ahead, go have fun, great. You're like, wait, who do you got going? Or you
It's
probably
a reverse
might leave.
psychology that some of us women do,
Yeah.
and then they're like, oh, never mind, I'm not going nowhere, I'm staying here.
No, baby, go ahead. Or
It's
send an
like,
accident,
yes, it worked.
like that TikTok. That's all like the accidental text of, all right, he's leaving. Go ahead and come back. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not falling for that trick. I'll just, like, if my fiance or my wife would have be like, oh, he's on his ear, he's leaving, go ahead. I'm like, I'll text her back. Have fun. I'm just kidding. I'll probably come back.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I know. I'll probably come kick that door and be like, I'll wait for him too. But just, yeah, we'll see what happens when he comes in this door. Like, just boom. Just run over with my car. I'm just kidding. No, but like, I just think that, the biggest misconceptions in a relationship is who's in charge. I've heard people who've been married for like 20, 30 plus years. One woman with whom I associate, she was one of my former landlords. She, I have like great, great interactions with her. She always invites me to her parties to go work and help her out and like kind of entertain the guests and stuff like that. Her name's Carolyn. She's just such a awesome party host. She does a great job. And I actually, in fact, tonight I had a Mardi Gras party. That was my first ever Mardi Gras party, and I got so many bees, and I didn't even have to take my shirt off or anything. So that was pretty cool. But I got like crazy beads. I looked like a Christmas tree by the time I got back home. But one of the things that she used to tell me is that she would tell me that her husband is the head of the household, but she's the neck that holds the head up. And I really like that that analogy, because for me, I mean, I see what she's saying. She's like, she holds the head up.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because it's the husband, the man, builds the home, and the woman makes it feel like the home.
Exactly. I heard one woman say, you give a woman a house, she'll make you a home.
Exactly.
Or she'll give you a home. Yeah. And I think that woman, in my opinion, I think woman in a healthy relationship, the woman is the heartbeat of the home, the tone of the home. Because when a man is walking outside and he's got his wife right next to her, or his partner, if it's an equally yoked, good, healthy partner, they get so much favor and people enjoy being around them. They're just like, because it really sucks. I'm confident that every one of us have experienced a time where we invited someone to come to a party or something like that, and that person or one of those individuals that was invited, we love that person, but their partner was just toxic.
Yeah.
And you just kind of feel the energy just get drained out of the party because that one individual's there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I agree. But there's also people who don't know that person. He can be the nicest, sweetest guy, but they don't know that person. But yet, because you've changed, but not that because you've changed because of him, you've changed, just because you feel like you're a better person now. You're in a healthy relationship, but family and friends that you hang out with tend to, I don't like him because he's changed you. And it's not about him changing you or her changing you. It's just you're happy, you're in love, but some of your friends can't see that because they want you to be at their level, and you're not most of the time.
Yeah.
I've had friends where we're like backwards. I was in a very toxic relationship for so long, and I had a husband who kind of didn't really care about where my whereabouts were, so I was always out and about partying and drinking with friends, and I was living the single life for so many years, but I was married. And now that we separated and I continue, I was trying to find myself because I lost myself within those 14 years that I was with this person. And I met a lot of friends, a lot of new people, now that I got into a serious relationship, a very serious, healthy relationship, I kind of not pushed myself, but I stopped hanging out with them because I'm okay with being home and just spending time with, my partner, and they didn't like that because they wanted me to be there with them. Like, oh, let's go out drinking, let's do this. It's like, no, been there, done that for so long. I'm not at that level no more. Like, I'm ready to grow up. I'm ready to, hey, my partner wants to do this. My partner wants to, move in together. They want to build a home together. Why would I want to lose on that?
But do you feel like your partner ever holds you back from anything?
No, of course not. Of course not. Maybe in my past relationship, I did. I put my life on hold for that person. I stopped going to school. I stopped doing things for myself, because I was so busy trying to take care of him and try to change him, which that never worked.
Yeah.
And now it's different. Now it's like this person wants to be home with me and just stay there and be lazy, and not lazy, but just watch movies. And it's like, that's something that for once somebody, that I have, and I've never had that. And now that I have it, it's like, it's a problem with some of my friends. Most of my friends have kids and they're grown, and now they want to party. Now that their kids are grown, they want to party and they want to go out drinking and do all these things. I don't have kids, but I already did the partying, I did the drinking, I did all that. Now I'm like, I'm ready to grow up. I'm ready to start a family. That's what I want to do. And it's, it sucks sometimes because, you want your friends to support you, but some of them don't.
Yeah. There was an episode I had a couple episodes ago about, actually, I believe it was a couple episodes ago, and it talked about toxic friends and frenemies.
Yeah.
People that pretend to be your friends and you think are your friends until you start changing and growing. And you said something really interesting. You said, I lost myself in my last relationship. Like, what do you mean by that? Like, you lost yourself?
Well, I had a lot of, I had goals, I had dreams, I had ambitions, I was going to school and I wanted to be a nurse, and he complained a lot because we never really hung out because I was always busy with school and work. So what did I do? I stopped. I quit school so that I can be with him, and it didn't work out.
So it kind of sounds like in that relationship,
like he dragged me,
Yeah, it sounds like you gave up you.
I did.
To accommodate him.
I did. It's exactly what I did. And when we broke up, when we just finally made that decision to separate, I was lost. I was like, what do I do now? Where do I go? What am I going to do with myself? That was the hardest part. It was finding myself. Because I would, I'm like, okay, right after we decided to break up, within that week, he was gone. Like, he just packed his stuff and, and coming home to an empty home, like to an empty closet, was the hardest part, because I think that's where it kind of hit me, like, this is really it. Like, he is really gone.
Yeah.
And I was a walking zombie. I would go to work. I'd come home, I cry, all up in my bed, and just trying to figure out, and kind of dealt with it myself. Yes, I had support with family, but I was far from my family alone. And one day I really had like a really big meltdown. I clocked out for lunch and I just cried and cried and cried. Like, I couldn't stop crying. And I just was like, I talked to God and I asked him, like, when is this pain going to go away? Like, when am I going to start feeling like myself again? And I was like, just give me a sign that everything is going to be okay. And I don't know, it's just something, I just took a deep breath and like, I stopped crying. And I was like, okay. I go, okay, you know what?
You just kind of felt peace at that point?
I did, I would get moments, because at the same time, it was my fault too. I would kind of go into his social media and, I would see pictures of him and, his new partner. And so it hurt, I guess I wasn't ready to let that go yet.
It seemed like you were kind of just like opening your wound again and kind of pressing on it.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was doing. So I would start to heal and feel better. And then I go back again. Because I want to know, what is he doing?
Yeah, we want to see if they're suffering the same kind of pain they caused us.
Exactly.
And then we don't see that. We end up inflicting more pain on us. And, with my fiance and I, we had a deep conversation, like when we first started to fall in love. We started talking. We're like, you know what? Like, I told her, I want you to understand something. You are you. You're not me. You are a compliment to me, and I am a compliment to you. I don't want you to lose your identity in this relationship. This relationship is not your identity.
Right.
It is we both have our own individual identities, and we need to make sure we don't lose ourselves. That's how we complement each other and we grow together and we move forward. And for all those of you guys out there listening, it's important to remember that you do not lose yourself in somebody else. That person is supposed to magnify the greatness within you. That person is supposed to help you grow and reach your fullest potential. If you have to sacrifice who you are to accommodate or please somebody, that person's not worthy of you. They're not good for you. They're not right for you. For all you women out there, especially all you curvy women out there who have, who are endowed in one area or the other, if you have to dress a certain way to get the attention of somebody else, that person's not worthy of you. A man is, if for those of you who are out there, for those of you women out there who are attracted to men or even attracted to women, whoever you're attracted to, if you have to dress a certain way or listen to a certain kind of music or be something else in order to get the attention of somebody else, that person's not right for you. Because ultimately that person should be attracted to your character, and the physical looks should be a bonus, because physical looks come and go. Things start to sag after a while. Unless, you have extraordinary amounts of money, you can continue to keep affording Botox and duct tape and
BBLs.
stuff. Yeah.
I mean, that's like the new thing now, which is pretty sad, But hey, if it makes you happy, then amen to you, girl. But I mean, the way I see it is, if you see a red flag, the minute you think that person is, walk away. Don't avoid it, because that's all you need. A lot of us women don't want to see it, but I think all you need is just that one red flag. And
I think there has to be context in that red flag too.
Yeah, you're right.
If it's a legitimate red flag.
Yes, you're right. I agree.
Like if he's trying
to the situation, and if he's a player and he flirts with girls, I suggest you stop before it goes deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
And
if he's really controlling too, that's something else you don't want. Like a man, like for my partner, I open her door. Like when she opens her own door, I call her and I'm like, it sounds like I just heard a door open. Yeah. And
there's not that many out there either.
Thank you. Well, I also had to explain to her that me opening your door is not saying you're not strong enough, or you can't open your own door. I'm acknowledging the sacred presence of a woman, and acknowledging how not fragile, but how special and priceless you are by opening the door for you. I'm going out of my way to serve you. Just like my partner, she cooks and she'll make meals for me and she'll serve me a plate. Not because I can't do it myself, and I'm definitely not lazy. It's because she wants to show that service, and being my partner, having my back. And I'm really grateful for that. Like we work well together. We start cleaning, like when she's here by herself, like sometimes she'll clean the house and make it clean and beautiful. She does an incredible job. And then there's times when, I do the same thing, but it's because we're a team. We don't see it as it's her job or my job. It's our job. So for all you guys out there listening, if you have a relationship with somebody, I don't care how good the sex is or how good they look. If you have to sacrifice your character to please them, get away from them. If you are in a relationship, especially for you women out there who are into guys, if you are in a relationship and the man insists on being in charge of everything, you're not going to be happy. It doesn't matter how much money that guy has, because you are just a trophy to him. You're what he's going to show, and he's going to give you money, but you're not going to be happy. There's not a single woman out there
I feel good about it now.
Yeah. You might feel good being on the cover of all these magazines and all this fame and stuff like that, but ultimately you are just going to fall on the wayside, and then you're just going to have all this money but be alone. How many celebrities have we seen kill themselves or heard about kill themselves who were extraordinarily wealthy, but ultimately they were lonely? Money doesn't keep you company. Money doesn't make you happy.
No,
so just because a man can provide for you a very wealthy life doesn't mean he's going to provide for you a happy life. You will be so much happier living inside of a very inexpensive apartment with someone you love and trust and are willing to build with.
Even if you're poor, and you're struggling with money, but yet, you're happy. You're helping each other.
Yeah.
That's what makes a relationship, a strong relationship.
Yeah.
I would rather have that than have millions and millions of dollars and be lonely and miserable when, if I'm struggling with money and, but as long as I have a partner who's willing to help me and willing to work for it, hey, I'm all for it, Yep. That's how you grow. That's how you become, better, for each other.
Yeah.
And stronger.
Yeah, I've seen people over here, for those of you guys who don't live in LA, we have a place called Skid Row. And it's a place that's also been called Tent City. They got so many tents out there, homeless people all over the place. It's a very depressing area because literally it's blocks long. I would even argue to say it's probably a couple of miles long, full of homeless people. And that's just not just there. It's all over the place in LA. And you still see, with the exception of all the drugs and alcohol use over there, you still see people laughing and smiling. Sometimes you see them with their partner, their wife. They laughing and smiling,
There's
joking.
some that are struggling, but there are also some that are lazy and don't want to, because there's help. I know there's help.
What I mean by that is, like, even in those conditions, people can still find happiness.
Of course.
Because happiness is not a financial state. Happiness is not a state of who you're with. It's more so if it's the
support that you have.
It's the support, the exchange, and the teamwork you have. It's that partnership that brings that happiness. And once again, happiness should not be found in another person. Happiness should be found within you, but it should be magnified by this other person. There's supposed to be that compliment.
That's true. I agree.
And I just, like, I just think like so many people, if more people would understand that in a relationship, effective communication is not asking for permission, but it's exchanging ideas. It's making sure you guys are on the same page, making sure you're taking the feelings of another person into accountability into account before you make a decision that affects both of you. Like if I have a plan or have plans with my significant other, and I decide to change those plans without consulting her, that could cause a problem because I didn't I didn't respect her time, I didn't respect her schedule, and I didn't respect her feelings.
Be upset.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she would be upset. And also, if I bought a house, and I'm like, yeah, I love this house, this is going to be our home, she'd probably be mad because she didn't have any say-so on that.
Right.
It would be best.
She'd be mad, but she'll also be happy. Like, well, you know what? He bought me a home. Why am I gonna complain?
Yeah.
Unless the place is like falling apart, and they'd be like, "What did you do? Why didn't you just consult this with me? We could have looked for something else."
Exactly.
Instead of just jumping the gun and buying a home where it has no roof. Now we gotta put extra money. Try to fix that.
Yep. So you've experienced toxic relationships, as have I. And I believe the reason why they were so toxic was because of lack of good communication, effective communication.
Yeah, there was no communication at all. I mean, I think this is another reason why it's so hard for me to communicate on the way I feel of my feelings, because I was so used to, when something bothered me and I would try to tell him, I would just put these paragraphs on text message, to pretty much express to myself how I feel. And all I got was okay, or a thumbs up, or and so to me, I just felt like I shut myself down, and I've always been that way too. Even growing up, it was hard for me to open up to anybody, if something was wrong, and I always kind of dealt with my own problems, and up to this day, it's still a little hard, I'm being in a healthy relationship, having a partner who notices that something's wrong and is asking you what's wrong, and it's hard. It's so hard to just open up, and even
how do you feel when you finally do open up?
It feels good, but at the same time, it's still, I don't know, it's still hard to kind of, I guess some of us women tend to be guarded for whatever reason, and I don't know why.
I mean, this is coming from a man, so this is just an assumption, but I believe maybe in the back of the average woman's mind, maybe they just feel like this, like all men are like this, or it's going to happen, and hopefully
or maybe
it doesn't,
we just want the men to figure it out, but I mean, they're not mind readers, and that's, and the same thing with myself. I always tell my partner, or I tell myself, not my partner, I tell myself, he's not my ex, he's not my ex, he's not my ex, so those are little bad habits that are still, that still come with me from my past, but I mean, little by little, I think I've opened up. I think from us being together, for quite some time, I think me opening up, to my partner has been a lot easier, but it's still hard.
Yeah. I mean, change doesn't happen overnight. Change definitely takes time, and it takes effort. But the thing is that you don't stop. And the more you work toward it, the more permanent it becomes. Man, I really, really appreciate you taking the time to be on the show with me tonight.
Thank you. I wish we can talk more.
Well, look forward to it. I look forward to other episodes with you on them as well.
Well, thank you.
You did a great job. I'm really proud of you.
This was something, new for me, and I don't think I've ever really opened myself to an audience like this, but, I'm glad I did.
Well, I'm glad you did as well. And thank you guys so much for spending this time with us this evening or this morning, whenever you tune to listen to it. We hope you have a beautiful rest of the day, evening, or again, whatever time you guys are listening to this. Thank you so much for spending the time. We love you, and we're grateful for you.
Bye.
And thank you for listening to Real Talk with RJ.